On this episode, questions, not answers. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show. And today I want to be talking about questions, not answers. In sales, it's all too easy to get into this idea or this habit of just answering questions. And the analogy I gave to my own team here, my sales team, is it's like a tennis match, and if you're playing in a tennis match and the opponent is hitting the ball on the left side of the court, hitting the ball on the right side of the court, and everything like that. You're running all over the court, left to right. They're making you run all over the place. They ask you questions, and you go on the offense, and you try and answer all these different questions. You're running left, you're running right. Next thing you know, you're completely taxed, you're completely exhausted, and all the same, you sort of lost control. You're out of control, and you've lost the sales cycle. And so the way to change that is to be the person on the other side of the tennis court firing shots to each side. And obviously it's not to get all tactical on sales, and you don't want to pull schemes on the prospect. That's not the point of this. What you need to do is you need to get good at asking questions. And I know this is kind of a cliche thing. People think, yeah, questions, of course, but you have to get good at asking questions. And don't play on the offense. Salespeople, for example, a prospect asks questions, they put you on your heels. What about this? What about that? They put you on your heels, and you try and defend, and you try and sell the whole time. You're trying to sell, and you're defending, like, oh, well, we do this, and here's why we're great, and here's why this is great, and here's why blah, blah, blah. It's not an effective strategy. Stop going on the offense or on the defense, on your heels, trying to answer every question, trying to run all over the thing. Oh, I don't know. Let me find out. Let me go check and find out and get back to you. That's not an effective strategy. Okay? You need to ask questions. And they say, well, what's this or that about your product or service? And you say, well, let me ask you something. Where are you going to be using this, and what's the end game here, and what's the goal connected to this, and how do you blah, blah, blah. And just by shifting that a little bit, and putting the question on them, they will answer the different things, and through answering, often will answer their own question and take it through and continue the cycle. Because the very nature of sales is sometimes putting the salesperson on the defense, and sometimes the questions don't have a lot of merit. Sometimes they're just challenging you and different things like that because that's what they think they're supposed to ask, or that's what they think people are supposed to do. And it's a crazy thing. I think there's things that salespeople do that are sort of robotic. There's things that prospects do. There's certain robotic, and they don't necessarily have a lot of logic or reason or practicality behind them, right? So your job is to run tight control on the sales cycle and move it all the way through the stages so you get to an end result. Not just like muscle people down to close them, but actually get them what they need. And in order to do that, you have to control the sales cycle, okay? You have to control the sales cycle and put in good controls that moves it from left to right and gets it done. And you can't do that if you're out of control. You can't do that if you turn over the controls and you just lost control, and now they're asking the questions and it comes back to you and you're running around frantically trying to answer every question and say, oh, here's why we're great and here's what we do. Oh, yes, I don't know, let me check. Oh, you're running ragged, okay? Stop doing it. Stop jumping through hoops, okay? Figure out what questions need to be asked. Ask questions that take you where you need to go. Ask questions that put in good control on the sales cycle and attain the end goal, right? Just because you get a question doesn't mean you have to answer it, all right? You can ask a question. They can ask you a question, and you can say, I have a question for you. What are you going to be doing with blah, blah, blah? How did you blah, blah, blah do before? How are you doing that right now? And then you should shut up and listen and pay very close attention. I always tell my sales team, concentrate on what they're saying. don't just disingenuously ask a question and just as a tactic, but ask a question, take notes if you have to. Sometimes I close my eyes and listen intently, not sit in front of my computer, but be somewhere else in the office and close my eyes and listen and concentrate on what they're saying. What is their response? What do you need to listen for? Often you'll get the go buttons, you'll hear the picture as they paint it, but it comes from asking questions. It comes from actually asking questions and listening to what they're saying and getting the full picture, getting all the information, getting all the data, and from there formulating an accurate recommendation, something that they need, something that they can use, something that aligns, and something that helps answer their earlier question. I'm not saying don't answer people's questions. Answer people's questions. Of course, answer people's questions, but sometimes answering the questions means asking questions. And the core here is don't lose control. Don't lose control. And you can do that by asking questions. You can put in very good controls, and if you get carried away with them asking questions, you can get on your heels, your tail spins out, and you're out of control, and it's certainly not going to help you close a deal, which means it doesn't help them, it doesn't help you, it doesn't help anybody. If you're the right product and the right service and the right company for them, then you need to be a pro. You need to be a pro salesperson. You need to be a pro at selling, and you need to take it all the way through for the good of everybody. And that's not going to come from just willy-nilly, them asking questions, them hitting the ball on each side of the court, doing whatever, and you're just chasing your tail, going all over the place, trying to get these questions answered. They're not always the prospects' questions are not always the right questions that need to be asked. And sometimes there's these things that go on, in sales. There's these things where they think that that's what they're supposed to ask, right? Well, I should ask this, and let's see, what about that? What about this? These are things that we're kind of used to in business, right? We hear somebody else ask that, they've been challenged with that, other people say that, they know Jim over in finance is going to ask this question. There's things that they think they're supposed to ask. It doesn't mean they're accurate, it doesn't mean they're right, and it doesn't mean they're relevant. Okay? So get good at asking questions, ask the right questions, make your questions better, work on refining your questions, and use your questions to maintain control and help steer and guide the deal where it needs to go so you can actually get something done. And ultimately you will end up answering their questions anyway, but often you answer them not by answering, but you answer them by asking questions and listening intently. You got to ask questions and you have to listen as much as you can and concentrate as much as you can, and from there formulate the best proposal, the best idea, and the best next step. But I've seen a lot of salespeople, and I've had a lot of salespeople on my team where over the years they've gotten stuck in this idea, and you can hear them. You can hear the difference. An absolute pro asks questions and they listen intently. A rookie or amateur or somebody who's not as great, they get questions asked all the time, and they're constantly trying to answer all these different questions, and they're running all over the place, and then they go and they ask other people, and they're trying to find all these different things, and here's why we're great, and here's what we do, and they're trying to sort of play defense and answer everything, and it's just not an effective. It just doesn't close deals. It doesn't get things done. It's a weaker strategy. All right, so focus on asking questions, focus on making questions better, focus on listening intently to what they're saying, and help sort of navigate and control the cycle through. Okay? That's it for today. We have more coming at you soon. And don't forget to subscribe. We really do appreciate it. Our subscribers going up, our viewership is going up. Big support there. We've got some good feedback from the show, and I really do appreciate you watching. We'll have more coming at you. If you have any questions or specific topics that you want to go after, or us to go over or cover, let me know, and just put them in the comments, and you can ask them on Twitter at The Quarter Show, hashtag The Quarter, and we'll tackle some of those different points as well. Okay? We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.